Welcome back to the channel. Back on Cookie Monster, my 1988 Chevrolet Silverado. Now, we just moved the truck over into the brand new shop. If you missed that video, I'll drop a link up here so you can check it out. But when we were loading the truck and unloading the truck on the trailer, when we were moving it, the fuel cell scraped. It's scraping. The big gas tank. Just put in that Boyd Welding fuel cell and had a feeling it was a little bit too low. And we found out that it's definitely too low. So we're gonna have to figure out how to pick that fuel cell up. But before we take the bed off, we're gonna go ahead and put the front clip back on because we have some Slosh Tubz that we're gonna fit along with their inner fender filler panels and a battery box. So whenever we take this entire thing apart, everything will basically be ready to paint. And also, I lucked out when we were moving all the stuff out of the storage unit because I forgot I had this main wiring harness that came with my 67 C10. So this might do the trick for rewiring old Cookie Monster here. We got a lot of work to do in this video. I don't know how much we're gonna get done, but let's get started. Of course, we needed a new radiator support because ours was smoked. So got with our buddies over at AMD and went to, I believe it was Battle in Bama, and they threw this on one of their trucks and brought it over to me at that show. AMD stuff is awesome, guys and gals. If you don't know, now you do. There we go. Now I've got the front clip back on. It's time to take a look at these Slosh Tubz. Now these are the mild tubs for the 88 to 98 OBS trucks. They have a nice bead rolled style detail in it. Now these are made of fiberglass, and this is gonna cover the tread of the tires and a lot of the suspension components and protect the engine bay from any kind of foreign objects and rain. Now we also have their inner fender filler panels, which are metal and bead rolled. Now these come with the template, which is for both sides. So you set the template in there, mark out where you're gonna cut, and these will set in place about like this. And that's really gonna clean up and hide all the ugly details on the inner fenders and make for a really, really nice looking engine bay. Now they also have this radiator cover. And if you guys know anything about these OBS trucks, is that the top of the radiator is exposed and it is unsightly. So this is really gonna dial in that look. And when you pop the hood, this will essentially be the first piece that you see. And I feel like this is really gonna make this engine bay look very, very nice. Here I'm setting the template in place, and you see at the rear of the template, they have a cutout for the hood hinge to help locate it. And then you push the template up to the top of the inner fender, and now you can draw your line on where you need to cut. And you hop over and do the exact same thing on the other side. You locate the rear of the template at the hood hinge and scribe your line on where the fender needs to be cut. Oh yeah, you're darn tootin'. Well, I was able to get it partially fit in here. Was running into some fitment issues. I don't think I took enough out of the bottom here. So I'm gonna go over to the edge of this inner piece, and I'm looking at that piece right there. I might cut that off, that guy right there. Not sure if I'm gonna do that yet or not, but it seems like it's in the way. On these Slosh Tubz, they have pre-marked where your holes will be. Don't mind that, I'll fix it. I actually already smoothed out the area that scratched it up. You see on the bottom there, some holes. They're not drilled out, but they're just marked for you. And I don't see one for this piece, so this might be holding us up a little bit too. Let me hop back in here and do a little more cutting in there and then see if we can't get this panel fit. Also, they come with fasteners, which is really handy. So I actually kept sneaking up on this line right here. Let me show you over here. On the fender, there is a kind of a crease from the stamp when they made the fender. And actually, if you cut just outside of that line, just inboard, that'd be perfect to fit the Slosh Tubz. You can see how much I had to take out from the inner portion of the fender to the outer portion of the fender. The thing fits pretty good now, so I drilled out a couple of holes. I'm gonna see if I can get some screws in this thing and see if it'll support itself. There we go. Mic check, 1, 2. All right, then, time to fit this guy in here, which doesn't really require much fitting. All I'm gonna do is run some self-tappers into the existing inner fender. Now that we got the side fit, I can go ahead and scribe a line from the Slosh Tub to the inner fender filler panel so we could dial in this reveal. Now it's really nice right out of the box, but you could always just dial her in a little bit. There's also a couple spots where the inner fender's touching the wheel well, and I don't want that because it could, damage the paint and all that stuff when it's painted. So we'll just do a nice reveal. Now that I have these screws holding the filler panel in place, I know exactly where this part can go. So when I pull this fender off, I'll be able to weld the inner fender on the fender. Now you don't have to do that, but I just don't want any visible fasteners. You could do nut certs and have some nice, stainless bolts or some Allen head bolts or whatever, but I'm gonna weld mine because I like a nice, clean, smooth look. And then the inner fender's pretty much dialed. With the way that this whole setup kind of works, it's so tight, I think I'm gonna assemble everything before I put it on the truck and then put the fender and the wheel well in as one unit, because I don't want to damage this thing after it's painted, that's for sure. But then I got the other side, it's the exact same process, and then we can start fitting this Slosh Tubz battery box. Cool beans. Last up on the Slosh Tubz install is this battery relocator. It's actually pretty nice. It's made of 11 gauge steel. It has the Slosh Tubz logo cut in it right there, and it works with an excess power D1200 battery, or there's two more it worked with, an off-the-shelf 6570 series battery, as well as an Odyssey 1200 series battery. So got a couple of battery options for this unit as well. I'm probably going for the excess power D1200. That's what they recommend, so that's what I'm gonna stick with, but literally just mounts in right there, and with a couple of bolts hold it in place. It has a strap that goes down on top, and then this is a cool, nice, and super clean setup here. Bolts in through an existing hole. You gotta put some kind of fastener in there. I wanna weld nuts to the back side of where this is gonna mount, so I'm just gonna mark them right now, making sure everything fits, because we're gonna come in later and weld those in. Getting this main harness laid out on the floor, just kind of seeing how everything goes together. No instructions with this kit. Must have gotten lost at some point in the 10 years that it's been purchased. But anyway, so this is the main fuse panel here. I'm probably gonna mount this somewhere in this area, since this was where the original wiring went through the firewall. Had that all welded up. Got to clean up the backside. Don't judge me on my weld. But anyway, gonna mount this one right here. I'm also looking at the AC here, so I'm gonna go with the Vintage Air Gen 5 kit. I'm looking online trying to see where the hoses route, and I can't really tell. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing is, have my evaporator here. Then we'll go in through here, make some hard lines. And we got our AC compressor. We'll route them the way that we need to. But then I'll probably just secure them on the side of the Slosh Tub and go straight in the firewall here down low. I think that's gonna be the easiest way to do it. I was thinking about maybe running it behind this filler panel and going in on the side over there, but I think running them low is gonna give a similar effect. We'll keep it all nice and clean, and if we ever have to service the hoses or anything, they'll literally be right here. All right, so we got that. So now you just start snaking all that spaghetti where it needs to go. So this is gonna be right here. Now keep in mind, I'm not gonna be running the full body harness right now. The goal with doing this is to see if there needs to be any modifications to the body that I can do now before it gets painted. Because after it gets painted, I don't really want to be cutting up the body. Low beam, start running through it. Okay, high beam. I'm pretty happy with this. So this is gonna be where our fuse panel lives. I know it looks kind of like chaotic right now. When we do actually run the harness, we'll, you know, secure this stuff up out of the way. This is all gonna run over here to like the steering column and the gauges, like I was saying. So this is all the wires that are gonna go into the engine bay. Now there is a nice shelf right here on the transmission tunnel. Thinking about either drilling a hole here or maybe here to give me some more room. And bringing in the harness like that, you know, put a rubber grommet and then wrap this in a nice wire loom. I don't want to do that just yet. I want to make sure that I really need to look at my my dually. I don't have that here right now, but that could be a good option. Or we could come in, you know, like the distributor is right here. The distributor is like right here, so we could come in a little bit down here and then just have it all kind of come out. But I think that's going to be nice and neat for all of that. And then this will obviously stay up here. Now these two are gonna be all your lights and everything else. So this is for the rear right here, and then this is for the front. Now if you come over here on the kick panel, there's a dead space like right there. So I can't find my e-brake right now to see where that lands, but I'm thinking I'm gonna drill a hole right there. That's gonna be big enough for all of these wires to go through. And then of course put a grommet, some nice wire loom on there, and then run this down the frame, and then run this one up on the inside of that fender. And then I was just looking in here too, and notice it's got the little cap for the wire harness. So when I run my power windows and power locks, I'll be able to utilize that and just run through the access panel right there. I know it looks super intimidating, but every single wire on this harness is labeled, and even though I don't have the directions on how exactly it's supposed to be installed, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward, especially on a regular cab truck with very, very minimal electronics. I think it has everything I need. Let me double check that. So you look here on ignition, you get your gauges, fan power, fuel, and then this is all your stuff, your cruise control, which I don't have. Accessory 1, 2, I think this is alternator excite. Power seats, power windows, heater, wipers, radio. And then these are all your circuits running off the battery, so these are gonna work all the time. Headlights, shade door handles, keyless entry, brake switch, horn and flashers, and then the cigarette lighter right there. So this bit basically has everything I need. It's got a circuit for the radio, circuit for the AC. It's got all the lights, all the signals, and I saved the old harness over here so that we can use the factory ends and connect to the factory style switches and lights. I'm still getting settled into the shop. This is hideous, by the way. I know that. We had made these a long time ago as quick as we could for our storage unit, and they are as rickety as they could get. Just put some lights up there, because if I turn these lights off, you can't see a dadgum thing. I am going to be doing a shop video where I upgrade the lighting, upgrade the shelving, upgrade the mezzanine, start doing some decorating and all that stuff. But anyway, we're still focused on Cookie Monster. Here we go. This is the factory harness right here. So I'll pull all of these and either repin them or solder these on to the new harness, so that everything plugs right up. Oh, look at that. That's cool. All right. So So basically, let's see if y'all can see this under here. Yeah, you see that? The tank was rubbing when I was loading it on and off of the trailer, which means this sucker's too low. I did have some concerns about it because it was the lowest point on the frame when I did the install. I was super pumped because I had not fabricated a rear cross member that spreads the frame rails apart. So I put this back in because their example on the website had that installed, but it is unfortunately too low. So I got to make a cross member here. We're going to take some measurements. I got to run to a shop and grab some material. Then we're going to remove this and raise this gas tank up. The only thing I'm concerned about is I might have to relocate my filter regulator because I have to move the tank up another 3.5 to 4 inches to clear the rear brace of the bed. And I did take a measurement from the bottom of the bed to here, and we got about 6.5 inches. And the filler cap comes down about 2 3/8 inches. So, I mean, these are gonna literally be touching whenever we get them installed. But as long as they're not touching, and it has a little rubber hose there, I think we're gonna be fine. 36 5/8. 36 5/8, we'll call it. All right, back at the house. Garage is an absolute mess right now. Anyway, my buddy Steven had some of this 1.25 inch pipe, 1/4 inch wall. So that's gonna be plenty to make this cross member. And I had some of this material laying around and just, cut it up and put a nice little finish on there. And basically, what I'm gonna do is set that in there just like that, tack it, and then come over here to this side. Well, after I cut it to length, then tack that and make sure I got that 36 5/8 from end to end. And what I did was, when I was making these, I ground them to where I had a reference surface, which is going to be this surface right here. So when I lay that one right there, and then lay this one right here with a spacer underneath, it should be where I want it. And then to keep everything nice and square, I'll tack it up and then just use this little square here, knock it in place, and burn it in. All right, let's get this thing cut. Hey, Nana's here. So we're about a 1/16 over, which is awesome. Yeah, we're about a 32nd over, but like, I'm good with that. I'd rather be slightly too big because you could always just grind off some of the surface area. But again, we're just talking about a rear cross member, not the most exact science here. All right, since I don't have a welding table, we'll just make one. There we go. Well, I thought I pushed record, but I didn't. Definitely not the prettiest welds, but you know what? We got some all right penetration. Look out, Tin Works Fab, there's a new fabricator in town. I also really feel like every time I weld something, I have to preface I'm not a professional welder. People go nuts in the comment section when it comes to welding. Just got some rusty capsulator here. Well, it looks like my kids left a little present in the tree. Capri Sun. All right, we'll let that sit for like 10 minutes. Come back and do another coat. Piece came out pretty good, if I do say so myself. It almost looks like a professional did it. We'll call it semi-professional. Now the big test. Will it fit? Nice. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, buddy. All right, the only thing I'm worried about is if the cross member on the back of the bed is gonna run into this. But we'll worry about that later because I could always drop it down because the two holes up top are the same as the holes on the bottom. So if that's the case, I could just lower it back down. But we have to have enough room to be able to slide the fuel tank in here because the fuel tank has the filler neck and it has the fuel pump. So we have to make sure that when we slide in, we got enough clearance, which we should with it being up here. But if we have to move it down, we could do that after we install the tank. I just want you to know this is the first structural thing I fabricated. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Nope, it's hitting our hoses. Cool beans. I mean, it just falls right in place. All right, so we definitely we're going to be about 3/4 of an inch more forward than I want to be because the tank will run into the rear cross member that I fabricated. So what I'm going to do is just drill where the existing mounting holes are. Then I'm not going to mount it on top of the frame because like I said, we're going to have an interference issue or a fitment issue with the filler neck. Let me get that so I can show you what I'm talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about. Look at how tall that is. So you got to think, you're going to have the bed floor and the closer that you get this filler neck to that bed floor, the less room you're going to have for this beefy filler neck. So I do have a plan. If I do run into fitment issues, I'm thinking about getting a 3D printer and then 3D printing a little spacer to match the bed profile and then put that in there. Anyway, so that's why I'm not mounting it on top of the frame, and actually I'm probably going to do a spacer with this, it's just like a thick rubber material that it's like an insulator. So I'm probably going to do a spacer with the insulator under the frame, and that should give me enough clearance to put this bed back on and cut the hole for this filler neck. All right, before I drill these, let me see if this fits. Oh yeah, look at that. That's cool. Now my other challenge is how in the world am I gonna get to these bolts? Well, as much as I hate to drill more holes in these mounting tabs and the frame, I think it's gonna be best if I drill the holes as close to the forward and back edges of the mounting tabs that I can, so I can get my fingers in here and do what I gotta do with those fasteners. So, yep, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think that's gonna be the best route. So these don't matter anymore. Yep. Put little rags in my jack stands so I'm not scratching up the finish here. Slide in millimeters here. How much do you want to bet the cross brace I made is in the way? 50-50. It's got to go over. Well, that doesn't feel good. All right, let's take a peek. Oh yeah, we're sitting right on it. This is what I was worried about. And so if we look up here, that hole is where the bed bolt goes. It's supposed to go through this hole right here. So this is supposed to be forward a little bit. And looking at my mount, it appears that this part of the bed is interfering with my crossbar. So what that means is I had luckily planned ahead. So you see these holes right here, this one and this one, that hole and that hole. Well, they're the same as that hole and that hole. So all I got to do is spread the frame a little bit and then bring this down. Why are we not focusing? Bring it down, and then this will have plenty of room to come down. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that while the bed's in place, because there's no reason to pull it back off. Well, man, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Straight in there. Looks like a professional did it. You see, we got it in the lower holes there, which is what we needed. And then most importantly, it is no longer the lowest point on the frame. It's actually a little bit higher than the rear axle. It's higher than the lower coilover shock mounts. It looks like it's about a couple inches above the bottom of the frame, which is perfect. Before, it was literally the lowest piece on the entire frame. And well, you can kind of see we got some scratch marks. Anyway, oh man. So that solves one issue. Here's the next issue. We got to figure out where this goes, and then we got to make sure that we have enough space from the bottom of this filler neck to the top of the filler on the fuel tank. So I'm gonna hop under there, do some eyeballing, then I'm gonna drill a hole, kind of peep through it so I can get close, because I got a 3 5/8 hole saw. And I want to get this as close as I possibly can, because I want to get this like halfway installed today and make sure that we have enough room between the filler neck and the filler piece right here. So yeah, let's get to work. Okay. All right. That is so close, dude. Not even funny. Okay, needs to come forward about a 1/2 inch. So about right here. That's where I'm drilling it. Now, like I said, this is a 3 5/8 hole saw, and the gas filler neck needs about 3 3/4 of an inch. So we'll be able to fine tune this a little bit. Uh-oh, that looks way off. Ouch. Gotta come back a little. So maybe it was just a 1/4 inch. So how about we go here? Just guessing. Just guessing here. Yeah, I say we run with that. Yeah, my arbor got jacked up. You see that? I'm gonna have to go get a new one. This is an arbor for like a small hole saw. It doesn't have the braces in the sides, so. All right. Had to go out and get a new arbor. Ended up just getting a new hole saw, because that arbor's kind of jammed up in there, and I didn't want to waste time trying to get it out. So we're just gonna run this thing in here, finish it off. Got a big boy arbor in there now. Whoop, we're not on drill. Now we are. cutting unevenly because of the raise in the bed floor. We'll just lube it up a little. That is dadgum near perfect. You just got to go like that way a little bit. That is awesome. Got my sweet patina Get Gone degreaser. We're going to clean up some of this WD-40. Which actually, now I'm thinking about it, should have grabbed their Skeet Skeet freezing penetrating lubricant. Put some Skeet Skeet on it. I didn't use that. This stuff's pretty cool though. It like bubbles and foams up and really gets in there. Anywho's, it's my product placement for the day. Well, I still don't have air in the shop, but I'm waiting for an electrician to come put in some 220 so I can bring over my air compressor. But I'm gonna throw the tool I love to hate in this drill, and that is a burr tool. I love it because it chews through metal like crazy, and I hate it because it throws those little burrs everywhere and they get like stuck in your hands and they're like a pain in the butt to get out. This may not throw as much though because it's not throwing air everywhere, so we'll see. We gotta clearance this out a little bit though. Holy cow, I don't think you could get it any closer than that right there. So you set this in, and it is resting right on top of the blue cap. And, well, the bed's dented right here. But it's sitting just about flush on the bed. So I think if we have like a little 1/4-inch spacer right here, like I was saying, maybe print something or carve something, that's just gonna pick it up just a little bit. That'll be good to go. Well, that is a huge relief, so I don't have to pull the bed back off and freaking drop that tank down some more. It's just about as high as you can go with it. So if you're wanting to mount a Boyd welding fuel cell in your OBS as high up as you possibly can, you gotta mount it about 1/4 inch below the frame rail. I'm gonna reach out to Boyd Welding and see if I can work with them to maybe make a spacer or something, because when I did my fuel cell on the 67 C10, they had a bracket that you basically screwed to the frame or welded to the frame, and then the fuel tanks went in from the bottom and it screwed into that bracket. So I'm thinking he could probably make something like this if that's an option that you're going for. And then, you know, there's companies out there that are making rear cross braces. Tinworks Fabrication literally just came out with one as soon as I was finishing painting this one. So if you want to do something like this, check out Tinworks Fab. But again, I'm going to get with Boyd Welding and see if we can come up with a new way to mount these tanks. Maybe help you guys and gals out a little bit if you got a lowered OBS. All right, I'm pretty much done on the back end there. Now I got to finish up the front end. All I got to do is put the fasteners in for the battery tray and then drill out the remaining holes for the slosh tubs, as well as spot weld the inner fender filler panels to the fenders. So I went ahead and I brought my welder over from the house because although I've never used this option, I can hook this up to 120 and use it. So instead of waiting for 220 to come in and all that stuff, I'm just gonna go ahead, hook up the 120 to this and see if it even works. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. It's not like we're doing anything structural. I'll drill out for a 3/8 bolt. Mic check. Okie dokie. Let's test fit our Slosh Tubz battery tray. Well, that's pretty dang rad, dude. I like it, man. It's about a 1/4 inch away from the tub right here, so I might put a little bumper right there just in case the body flexes. We have contact. There she is. Got everything nice and buttoned up. Well, I was thinking instead of pulling the front clip, doing the spot welds and drilling out the holes for the inner fenders, and then putting it back on, throwing it on a trailer, taking it to the paint shop, taking the front clip back apart, doing some more work to it, putting it back on, might as well just leave it on. It is basically a complete truck right now. And let me tell you, it's a lot easier to transport a vehicle when all the body panels are on it versus when you gotta pack everything up. So I'm gonna leave this as is. We're gonna throw the wheels back on, get it down to Steven at Mirror Image Auto Body so we can start body working this dang truck in his shop. And I'm telling you, the paint job we're gonna put on this thing is gonna be like 100% show quality. Like, we're putting a lot of effort into making sure that this thing looks real nice. Also, if you guys haven't heard of Slosh Tubz and you drive a Chevy truck, where have you been, man? They make some killer products. Not only do they make these inner fenders and filler panels, they also make buddy buckets, they make speaker enclosures, they make so many other parts, and they're starting to dabble in Fords as well. Check them out, Slosh Tubz. Guarantee you're gonna find something there that you like. Plus, Mike and Sarah, they're awesome people, and they got a special place in my heart because they actually live in my home state of Arkansas. So shout out to them for helping me out with this project, man. Phenomenal products, awesome people. If you see Mike and Sarah, tell them I said what's up. I'm gonna be seeing them at C10 Fall Revival. Hopefully, I think they're gonna be there. If not, I'll be at C10 Nationals. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm very excited that the truck looks like a truck again. I gotta get the heck out of here. As always, I appreciate you guys and gals hanging around and watching this one. I'll see you in the next video.